viewers tonight, what was the catalyst for that? And then how did your constituents so far respond?
A lot of people think that it was school choice. School choice was probably the very last thing that was the thing that carried me over, but in all honesty, it was defunding the police, it was illegal immigration, it was the prosecutor oversight bill, it was workforce development opportunities in underserved communities. My constituents on July 11th, when I decided to switch parties, immediately started reaching out to me saying, you know what, Representative Maynor, we do not care what letter is next to your name. As long as you're not trying to defund the police and you are supporting the kids in our community, we're still going to vote for you.
Oh, Misha, I love that story. And Lisa, you did notice the change in the schools. The schools, as a mother, and I'm a mother of 3 teenagers, so I'm with you on the school issue 100%. Tell us about your exodus from the Democrat Party.
Sure. So I got very involved in my children's school. I saw all the programs that were being pulled in and all the promises that they were making and the damage that was being done. And it was completely irrefutable what was happening with our children, what was happening with education, the deprioritization of academics over social emotional learning type programs. And I'm also a very pro-Israel, very big Israel supporter. And when some of the escalations happened in the past, especially in May of 2021, I saw the way that narrative was being pulled in, not just in the media, but also into our schools. And that really just turned me off.
Oh, you did? In the schools back then, it was more of the anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian narrative. Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you were really way ahead of that. Tony, I know you're in the music business, or you're a creative person, and it wasn't too long ago that you were at, I believe, Columbia University, and you saw something that you thought was very disturbing.
Well, most people feel that you go to a school like Columbia and you become indoctrinated, but it had the opposite effect on me. I became a conservative and a Republican from hearing some of the things that at the school. The experience of living my life and seeing how things really are made me realize that some of the stuff was legit, but in general, it was, I didn't really believe in it.
Well, and was it the social issues? Was it the militancy on the left and the illiberalism of the left? Was that part of it, Tony?
Definitely. It was definitely part of it. But at Columbia, I was sort of like looked upon as like in Plato's Apology, like Socrates corrupting the youth of Athens. I was like the older guy from the real world corrupting the students at Columbia. Like I would tell them about, how this country's like the greatest country, and it's still the greatest country, no matter, whether we speak of rights of any kind, human rights, animal rights. I think that people are better off now than they ever were, but at a school like that, the professors and the students think the opposite of that, and they tell the students that,
So how dare you come to our campus and say anything positive about America? How dare you, sir? I mean, this is Representative Maynor. I want to pull you back in, then we'll get back to Tony and Lisa. Why do you think so many minorities today, at least in these polls, now it could change next year, but in these polls, there's a deep dissatisfaction that's brewing even in the Hispanic community and mostly among African-American males, where you see some erosion from the Democrats?
I think that the Democrat Party has just traditionally, over time, not paid attention to that voter base. But if I were to say one thing in particular, I would say illegal immigration. A lot of people are okay with legal immigration, right? That is perfectly fine. But even within the Hispanic community, you have people that have come to this country legitimately. They're working hard, they're contributing to society, and they themselves do not want to see illegal immigration. Right now, you guys have reported several times there are thousands coming over the border right now, and that leads to foreign policy. I think that the Democrats are just underestimating the African-American voice and the Hispanic voice. to just assume that people do not know what's going on, that is going to be detrimental to them in 2024.
And Lisa, I think the Democrats are so used to women in the suburbs, and we saw this play out in Tuesday's elections, where women will especially come out and they're just voting reflexively Democrat, whether it's the abortion issue or it's pounding on that. But what's your message tonight to women, especially mothers, given the DEI agenda in the schools and the deeply anti-American tenor of so much of what's being taught to kids who are little all the way through high school?
I think
what's your message to them?
It's to really pay attention, get involved. We're seeing what's happening on college campuses, and I am an avid believer that that's not starting in college. That's starting in K-12, where they're supposed to be building our children and they're breaking them, and we're sending them to college broken.
Breaking them. That's a stark description, but I think sadly, Tony, that's accurate. And then we move into what's happened to the working class. I mean, everyone knows I come from a working class background, and I live in this, fancy area, but it's still my heart is a working class people. And they are just throwing in the towel with Biden's economy. And Tony, your view on that, given the declining real wages in America because of inflation?
The thing that I really want to say, the most important point that I want to make tonight is that at a place like Columbia, you would be very surprised at the amount of Trump supporters in the administration, among the professors, but they were afraid to come out and say it. They're afraid to because they don't want to lose their jobs and stuff like that. So your typical Republican or Trump supporter, the so-called deplorables, but in my mind they're anything but deplorable, because at least they have the guts to speak out.
All right, one word to describe Biden's economy. Misha, one word.
Failing.
Lisa, one word.
I have to use the same word, failing.
Tony, one word to describe Biden's economy.
Deplorable.
Ooh, I love it. Panel, Representative Lisa, Tony, all of you. Interesting conversation. Former Democrats tell about why they're leaving the party. Thank you.